the assumptions he claims that everybody has, the assumptions that he claims that everybody has, that's the straw part? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd rephrase it just slightly to put the to put the focus on a different word. So it's not the it's not the assumptions that he says we have. It's him assuming we have those assumptions, right? So that's the straw part. Yeah. Although technically you're right, because that would be the straw filling the dummy. Okay. Anyways. So the straw part is the fact that it's not. The straw part is the fact that it's not true, right? And if you want to look at the individual straws of straw, does anyone know? What are the individual units of straw? Like if you have a straw hat, it's made out of blanks. Stems? Leaves? All right. That's for homework. Right. Okay. Dubious consensus. That's the straw part. Right. So what Pinker's saying is, we believe that jailing an executive will end corporate malfeasance. Or, geniuses are invariably self-made prodigies. Or, eliminating a risk can make a system 100% safe. Right? What Pinker's saying is, I didn't think that. Right? He's saying, don't count me among, right? Now, what does it mean to say that? What does it mean to imply that not all of us already thought that way?
That either Malcolm has an inherent misunderstanding or we have a misunderstanding.
Say more.
Sorry?
Say more.
Yeah.
An understanding of what?
Oh,
a misunderstanding. So.
Yeah, misunderstanding of the topic at hand. Or the subject matter, yeah.
Okay, so why did you make it a question of misunderstanding?
Well, because if, like, you're saying, well, I didn't think that way, or, I mean, the author's saying that, then obviously either the author was inherently wrong or Gladwell was.
I'm interested that you jumped to error. That's interesting, because technically Pinker's talking about like consensus, right?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a question of error immediately. It's a question of agreement or disagreement. But you're pointing out that for Pinker it's a question of truth, too,
yeah.
Or accuracy might be a more accurate way of putting it. Yeah, so is that what's at stake in what Pinker's doing here? Is that he's trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong?
Well, I guess not, because I think that Pinker has already set up Gladwell as being wrong in the first place in the paragraph above. So, like, I think the answer is basically already given based on, like, his criticism of Gladwell not understanding the terminology, what he was using.
Right. Right. Now that's interesting because that's a critique of the accuracy of Gladwell's conclusions, right? But this is a critique of Gladwell's premises, right? He's saying it's not the case that we all thought that, right? As opposed to saying it's not the case that this characterization is true of this specific topic, right? So maybe we should break it down. So Pinker says X believes that corporate malfeasance will be stopped through prosecution. Who's X for Pinker? Gladwell? Who's the he there? Pinker is saying that who doesn't believe it?
That, like himself, like Pinker is saying that Pinker doesn't believe that.
Okay. So for Pinker, it's not me. Who is it for Gladwell?
Himself and like Gemma, like we, yeah.
Yeah, right, the we. Who disagrees with that statement in Pinker? Yeah. Alright, so maybe we should say up here, at least not me. Not at least me. Okay, that's good. And who disagrees with it in Gladwell? Gladwell thinks that corporate malfeasance will be stopped through prosecution? Did I write persecute? Okay.
Disagrees that corporate malfeasance will be stopped through prosecution.
Gladwell does.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so there's a bit of contradiction here, right? Is it showing up in the green? Can you read that, or is that too dark? Okay. So, there's a contradiction here, right? We believe that malfeasance will be stopped through prosecution, and Gladwell does not believe that. But Gladwell's in the we. How do we resolve that? Because Pinker's critique isn't, at base, that Malcolm Gladwell is just faking it and saying he doesn't think this, right?
You seem like I used to think that. Now I'm enlightened. Now I'm enlightened.
Okay. Alright. So let's break it down into past and present, right? So, what time frame does the we inhabit?
Past. If he includes himself, then he's going back to a time when he still thought the same thing.
Right. Past Gladwell. And what about the rest of us?
Current people.
Right. Present people. Always alliterate. You don't have to. Alright. And who disagrees with it? I'm sorry. I guess we've only got Gladwell. Well, no. So who disagrees with it? Present Gladwell. And? The rest of us? Future people. Yes, I just wanted someone to say future people. Okay. Alright. Great. So what do we do with that? That means that what Gladwell is trying to do here is he's trying to bring us from a state where we think one thing and trying to convince us of another thing, right? Pinker's critique is we were never here. We were never here in the first place. I'm going to stop doing that. I apologize. All right. So Pinker is saying we were never here in the first place. This is a misrepresentation, right? And if we were never there in the first place, then how are we going to end up here? Right? But it does another thing. Error does factor into it, right? Because now we get down to here. True but trite. That's a very, very good phrase. He starts to get into a particular example. Risks are not easily manageable, accidents are not easily preventable, right? And he starts picking apart this one thing. But suddenly it's not really about who agrees or who disagrees, right? It's about this being an inaccurate statement when it's applied in the wrong context.